What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another live stream of the Engadget podcast. I'm senior editor Devendra Hardwar, joined with our senior editor Jessica Conda here. Hey, Jess.
Hello, hello. Let's
Hello, and
talk
our
about games.
let's talk about games. And our podcast producer Ben Elman. Hey, Ben.
Hello.
Hello. Sherlyn is out this week because she is taking secret meetings, and also it's mainly going to be game stuff. And this is not what Sherlyn spends time on. She spends time on phones and other things. And I guess
Despite
games.
all of our attempts to make her a gamer, it hasn't worked.
No,
Well, yeah.
she's not even like she's not a reluctant gamer even. She likes playing games. She
Yeah.
really is. I think she's one of us. She just
She
doesn't
is.
quite realize it yet.
We'll direct Sherlyn in there, but thank you all for joining us this morning, and yeah, thank you all for joining us a bit late. Do we want to shout out anybody in the chat room? And which reminds me, I got to open up the chat room. Let me do that.
Yeah, so we've got Mark Dell here. Thanks for being here, Mark. I know that your job has recently taken you
Yes.
away from being able to hang out on the chat all the time. We've got Dude Named Charlie. Hello. We've got Buddy305 Love. Hello. And also Chi-Ming Chung.
Hello, everybody.
It's a bit of a weird day to be talking about just video games. We will acknowledge the situation.
Will acknowledge that. Yeah. We were going to do a Twitter space test, but we thought, no, let's not do a lighthearted fun thing right now. Maybe next week we'll give that another shot. But yeah, we'll be talking about Horizon Forbidden West, some other gaming news. Everyone's gearing up for Elden Ring, so we'll dive into all of that. Are you guys good to go?
Ready?
Yes, I think we're ready.
Okay. Let me see here. Okay. Let's start in 3, 2, 1. What's up, Internet, and welcome back to the Engadget podcast. I'm senior editor Devendra Hardwar, and I'm joined with our senior editor Jessica Condit. Hey, Jess.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Sherlyn is out this week. Let's put it that way. She is out because we're talking about games, and she ran away immediately. So it's going to be Jess and me on Game Talk Day. As always,
That's fine.
Yeah. Do you want to respond to that?
No, you're good.
You're good. Okay. Jess has ice. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'll keep it on.
I apologize for living in Arizona where everything needs to be iced.
All ice. Jess has her feet in an ice bath right now. I will just continue on from there because I know that script. Okay. As always, if you're enjoying the show, please be sure to subscribe to the Engadget podcast on iTunes or your podcatcher of choice. Leave us a review on iTunes. And, we typically do a live stream Thursday mornings around 10 a.m. Eastern. Join us on our YouTube channel for that. It's always a good time. You can always email us at podcastengadget.com too if you have any questions or comments. We really appreciate the feedback. And before we get started with the show today, I just wanted to say a word with what's happening in the world right now. We're recording this episode on the morning of Thursday, February 24th. Last night, Russian President Vladimir Putin announced a peacekeeping operation in Ukraine, which really is just doublespeak for saying that he's declaring war on a sovereign neighbor. We've been hearing reports about this over the past week, but now it really does look like Ukraine is under a full-scale assault by Russia. Now, we're just a tech podcast, but I do want to say we are holding, the people of Ukraine. Do that again. We're just a tech podcast, but I do want to say we're holding the people of Ukraine in our hearts, and we can really only hope that this invasion doesn't escalate much further. But I also get it. It's hard to be hopeful when the threat of nuclear war is on the table. If you want to learn more about what's happening, the New York Times Daily or The Daily podcast has several recent episodes exploring why this is happening and what it's like on the ground now for reporters and citizens. Especially right now when things are so crazy, I would say stick to trusted news sources. And I know the New York Times has problems, but it's pretty good for this kind of reporting. So just check out those episodes. I think they'll clarify it. Just check out those episodes. I think they will clarify a lot for you, especially if you're not just reading all the news all the time. And for any listeners in Ukraine, we hope that you're staying safe. I'm going to do a push to the rest of the show. All right, let's move on to less serious video game talk so we can all take our minds off of where the world is going. Horizon Forbidden West is here. Jess, you did a review for us. You've played this game quite a bit. Just wanted to say, what did you think of this?
So Horizon Forbidden West was a delight it was surprisingly good. I wasn't quite sure what to expect out of a sequel
Mm-hmm.
to Zero Dawn. You know, it's like, okay, what are they really going to do? What's going to be new? Is she still going to be the savior of the world? Spoiler, yes. But they added, so Guerrilla Games made it. They added a lot of depth just in the environments alone. So Forbidden West, I live in the Southwest. I love running through these deserty scenes. The sunsets are gorgeous. They really capture just like kind of that dry feel that we have out here. And then it goes all the way to the coast, and you see the Golden Gate Bridge dilapidated. It's really cool. Like you see,
Is it a
Vegas
post-apocalyptic game if you don't see a dilapidated Golden Gate Bridge? You know,
well, you have to.
like you
You
have to.
absolutely have
It's
to.
the law.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's legally in the contract. Yep. It's okay. Yeah. And but they have like underwater in this one, and I am terrified of the water. That's like what I led my review with, was like, yo, I'm scared of the water. I was not excited when Guerrilla Games was like, yeah, we're gonna have water. It's gonna be totally swimmable. Have fun.
You're gonna have like very scary situations where you're running out of breath. I always hate those in games. Ever since Sonic.
This
you know?
exactly. See, that's the thing. The having to manage your breathing while diving. Plus,
and then the music,
large creatures,
the Sonic song when you start losing breath is just like do 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 do. It gets like louder and louder and more threatening. Like that's seared into me. But I for anybody else who has a fear of drowning, I feel like games really recreate that quite a lot.
They do, dude, and it's always scary. It's always there's always some jump scare or something. But no, actually, I think they approached water really well in this, because yes, there are some scenes where you're holding your breath, but very quickly Aloy constructs a gadget that lets her breathe underwater.
Sure.
And then it's just like you're flying around these like neon cities. It's really, really cool. Scary, but like, you know, playable even for someone who really doesn't like that. It's a really cool game, very dense crafting, customization, all the characters, the voice acting, amazing. It was a pleasant, wonderful surprise. I did not expect to like Forbidden West as much as I did. So yeah,
you know, and we're not going to need to spoil Zero Dawn or anything. I think like you can gather some ideas about what happened in that game. I kind of fell off of that game because it felt it also had like cursed timing, right? Like that came out around the same time as Breath of the Wild, and if I'm going to spend dozens of hours in an open world game, I'm going with Nintendo every time, you know. But I kept trying to go back to it. It always seemed like the combat was a little slow, moving was a little slow. But I hear from a lot of people that they really like the story. So what I'm doing now is I'm playing Forbidden West, just assuming, you know, I'll be spoiled on quite a few things. I'll probably go back and finish the first game like a prequel or something. Do you think this game is is a highlight for the PlayStation 5? This is the sort of like AAA single player experience that Sony really leans on, right? So is this like up there with God of War and everything for you?
Yes, it really is. It's big enough, it's dense enough. One of my complaints, like specifically with, you know, open world games that I've played recently, Halo Infinite, not an open world game. You know, this is what I was saying in my review. Horizon Forbidden West really shows how it's done, how you make an engaging world that forces you, that encourages you to grind, but really it's forcing you to do the things that make the game interesting. And I want a game to push me toward those things. But you still have this freedom of expression in terms of like, you can really go wherever you want to go at any given time. You can fight whatever robot dinos you want to fight. But you will probably die if you're, you know, overpowered. But so in terms of like PlayStation 5 though, I loved playing it on the PlayStation 5 with the DualSense, just because that controller changes the way these games feel. Not only is it beautiful on PS5, it's beautiful on PS4 too, but that DualSense, that haptic feedback when you're using certain weapons and you feel the tension, it's really special. I like it a lot. And that's one reason I play a lot of my games on PlayStation, is just for that DualSense. Yeah.
And we'll talk about Elden Ring soon too. But that is just sort of like decision making I'm having. Like, do I want it on PS5 just for the haptics? Are you feeling at all like overdone with open world games though, Jess? Like we have seen so many. You know, it still feels like Assassin's Creed Valhalla came pretty recently. That was the launch games of the PS5 and Xbox Series X. Does this elevate itself beyond like a typical open world game, or is it all about like
Yes.
there's so many things to do, there's all this stuff on the map, you just got to go do it?
It's so Assassin's Creed, I gotta say, does not capture my interest. I have tried, I've started many of those games, and they just don't do it for me. I don't know what it is, but yeah, Forbidden
It's a
West,
formula.
there's something there. It is, with Assassin's Creed, it's like I know exactly what I'm going to get, and I get it. Forbidden West actually surprised me in a few ways, and that was really, really nice. I like the way Forbidden West did it. This was the open world game for me. I think right now I need a break. I think I need to dive into some smaller, I need some more indie stuff, some narrative stuff. But I mean, yeah, Elden Ring is definitely on the list too. So we'll talk about that though.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm like an hour into Forbidden West. Would you say this one has a slow start? Because it's kind of taken a while to kind of get going for me. But
okay. When I started the review, I was like, "Oh no, it's so slow." And it took maybe 2 hours until I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I like this." So give it some time. Let it take you there. But honestly, you don't have to have played Zero Dawn to enjoy Forbidden West. You really don't. It's like it gives you all the context you need. You can very much easily discern what happened in the last game. It's a story about saving the world. So they're all about the same.
they're all about the same. I mean, the facial animation so far, like it does look like Guerrilla Games is really like up the game in terms of like what they're doing. It does look like we're watching CG movies now, which is just kind of wild to me.
Did you see that tweet that was making the rounds?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about Aloy Beard.
Please. Yeah. Aloy Beard. And I saw the response to it that I saw was, "Tell me you've never met a woman in real life without telling me you've never met a woman."
Or another human being, apparently. But
honestly, have you ever looked at your own? Whatever. So yeah, there was a tweet where like the graphics, or it was the cover art, it was the box art of.
Yeah, was it Vanity Fair or something? Yeah,
sure. There was a very high res image of Aloy, and they show like she has like little, peach fuzz on her face, like
which everybody does.
Women do, and it feels great, guys. And this person was like, "Why does Aloy have a beard?" And so that is the power of increasing performance in graphics, because now we can see, yes,
people learn.
Women have slight facial hair, and a lot of people do, and everyone is covered in hair. And
you have fur on your ears. Everybody, go look closely at your ears, especially if you're getting older. You get a little peach fuzz there too. It is it's hilarious.
Yeah,
it is hilarious.
Cute. It was funny. Yeah. I just assume it was a 12-year-old or something. I don't know. Like,
I assume most of those Reddit, most of those Reddit and Twitter threads probably 12-year-olds, or people with the maturity of a 12-year-old. I'll say. As we're recording this, everybody's gearing up for Elden Ring finally being released. Have you been able to spend any time with it, Jess, or are you looking forward to that one?
I have not. So I've been buried in. I was doing Horizon, and now a little teaser coming tomorrow. Steam Deck reviews are coming out.
Oh,
so
okay.
I've been pretty busy. And I want to play Elden Ring. This is not my typical game. Like, I am not really a Dark Souls kind of person. Like I just said, I'm not really looking for an open world game right now. But just reading the reviews of Elden Ring, I mean, people are blown away. I mean, what about you? Are you into this one?
I'm, I feel like I'm of two minds about it. I've tried every single Souls game, and I've never like really fully gotten into it. And it does feel like, I think there's a divide among gamers who are like really into those things in the punishing way. It forces you to play them, and the constant failure and everything. My younger brother loves those games. He fully gets into it. It may just be like, do you have the time in your life to spend doing that? Because I'm also at that point right now where I have a kid. I have so many things to do. I'm expecting another kid. There's so many things happening. If I get 15-20 minutes to game, that is that is the gaming I can do for the rest of the day, or for an entire day. I can't progress in these games. I can't really go forward, and when it does feel like I make any progress, some stupid enemy comes in and like takes all my souls, and makes like the hours I just spent kind of worthless. So I think it's a vibe. I think there's like a punishing vibe that people get into. I remember growing up playing games like Ninja Gaiden, right? Like the really, really tough stuff on NES, where there is no checkpoint system, right? You get to the
Right.
last boss and you die, you go back to the beginning of the game, and the game is really hard. So I remember those days. I didn't like those days either. This just seems like the latest iteration of that. We'll say the reviews of this one definitely have me they have me intrigued. Like they always get me intrigued. You know, I bought Bloodborne. I have Dark Souls
Mm-hmm.
3. I think Sekiro I spent more time with just because the combat felt really good. And then I got to a super hard boss and I was just like, I cannot spend more of my life doing this. So I take little bites and morsels from all their games, but this is one I want to like spend some time with. I just hope I can actually get that time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or how are you looking forward to this one compared to the rest?
So I definitely like I want to play it on PC because I think
Mm-hmm.
that's where I like that's the vibe for this one. Not couch for me. That's where I go to relax.
Mm-hmm.
PC is where I go to work, and I think I'd have to work at this game. And that's okay. Sometimes you're in that mood, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't generally go for very punishing games
Mm-hmm.
necessarily. But every now and then, sure. So no,
Sure.
I don't think I'm gonna like finish Elden Ring. Yeah, I don't think that's really the vibe for me. But every now
Mm-hmm.
and then, maybe I'll dive in, maybe I'll check it out, and maybe I'll get sucked in even. I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't mind that. I'm kind of looking for something to really wrap me up. I'm Forbidden West, I'm done with that. So we'll see. Yeah.
For sure. There are a lot of discussions right now about like accessibility and like making games
Yeah.
more accessibility in terms of like can you actually play this like having different
Difficulty
difficulty
levels or
levels and
yeah.
whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Elden Ring certainly doesn't have that. The Souls people will never do that compared to something like Horizon Forbidden West, which I believe has like just the straight up story mode, right? Are
Yeah.
you disappointed in that, or do you just feel like that is the artistic intent of what they're doing with Elden Ring, and like it's either for you or not, right?
Exactly. I
Mm-hmm.
I understand the conversation that's happening about
Yep.
around accessibility. I just I don't think it applies to Elden Ring.
Mm-hmm.
Like this game, this is what it does. I
Some
don't
games
think
can be
that it
hard.
needs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean the point of Elden Ring, the point of Souls games is to be punishing, to make you grind and work and try new things and do it again and again and again. You know what you're getting.
Mm-hmm.
If there was an easy mode, what is the game even? What is the game? So for me, I'm totally fine. This game is not the one for people who want an easy experience. Done. Move on, play something else.
For
That's
sure.
just kind of how I see it. Yeah.
And also, I guess this game is coming at a point where like we just want to like disconnect from everything happening in the
Yeah.
world a little and just like give me a greater hellscape than the hellscape of our reality right now. So yeah, maybe I'll vibe with Elden Ring more than the other games right now. Yeah.
Exactly. I
Mm-hmm.
love the gothic fantasy like vibe. That's very, very cool. So maybe it's just fun to live in that world for a while. I agree with that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. I
Yeah.
think part of it too is like playing a game. Sekiro didn't quite have this, but playing a game like Bloodborne, where it's just like so gothic, like
Yeah.
like you're breathing it, right? Everything you're in
Hmm.
is so dark and twisted. There's freaky monsters, and like I love this stuff. I love horror movies, but being in that world and also how punishing it is, like it definitely scratches a lot of places for me where I'm like this is hard for me to play, and also I don't like playing this because of the way it makes me feel. So
Yeah.
again, one of those things, it's a very specific aesthetic, either for you or not you. I'm looking forward to spending time with this, folks. Let us know,
Mhm.
are you picking up Elden Ring this weekend? Let us know your thoughts about it, and maybe we'll have a deeper discussion later on the Engadget podcast. Anything else you want to add about this game or Horizon, Jess?
No, just when you said like games that are hard to play, I just had a flashback to Resident Evil Village.
Yep.
When I played
Yep.
it in VR, it was
Hmm.
especially like I played it in VR and I couldn't touch it for like 2 weeks after. Like
Oh yeah.
it was just like I don't want to go back in that house. Thank you. No, like
It was
so like
too
there are games
overwhelming.
that do that.
Hmm.
Yeah, well, it's too good is a way to
It's
look
too
at
good.
it, but
I kind of
it,
had
it
that
was very
feeling.
effective.
I was testing out the environmental audio, the like surround virtual audio that Sony does in the PlayStation 5 with Returnal. And that game is already so like it is so punishing and like so crazy at times. Like also hearing all the enemies around you in 360 degrees in a
It's a
bullet
lot.
hell. Oh my god. I wanted to like throw my headphones across the room. Like it was just way too much.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there is a
Oh,
point
I
where
think I said
emotion can
Resident
go too
Evil
far.
Village. By the
Hmm.
way, it's not Village. It was the one before. But either
The
way.
one before. Yep.
I just don't want people to call me out for the VR shit.
Resident Evil 7. Although, is Village getting VR?
Probably I don't know. Is. I would not do it. Like, I just, Resident Evil's scary enough, and VR just kind of made me sick and too scared to play. So no.
Well, you know what? Speaking of VR, let's move on to some other news. We did get the final reveal, or I guess the next reveal. Sony's doing the PlayStation VR 2 stuff very weirdly, where it's just like press release here, random drop here. This week, they randomly showed us, hey, this is what the headset looks like. And it looks really sleek. I'll say that. Like, it has the same like curved aesthetic as the new controllers they debuted a couple months ago. It looks a lot less chunky than the original model. But the original, I've tried every VR headset, folks. I've reviewed a ton of them. That cheap headset, like cheap comparatively to all the PC ones, felt better than most other companies. Like, putting on the original PlayStation VR was a reminder that like Sony sometimes, like not all the time, but sometimes can like know exactly how you need to build a consumer product, and it had the right amount of cushioning and balance. It just felt good to wear. This one looks like more of the same, and it looks like it's going to fix most of the issues we had with the original PSVR. It has inside-out tracking, like they talked about. So we have some like, I see 4 sensors at the front here. That means you're not relying on the PlayStation camera like you had to on the original. Oh my God.
Which is amazing.
What madness that was. My living room was just a disaster every time I set that thing up.
Exactly.
The new motion controllers also look great. They are certainly better than the Move controllers, which are like 15 years old at this point. Like, they were old by the time the PSVR came out, and then the PSVR just used them for several more years. That was really wild. But this thing just looks like super comfy tech-wise. They say it's going to have eye tracking too, which again is not in any consumer grade VR headsets yet. So I am also surprised to see Sony doing that before everybody else. Like, I don't know what Oculus or Meta are doing at this point. So are you excited for this thing, Jess? Like, would you want to try this out?
Well, yeah. See, I was just going to look up if it has foveated rendering. I guess they don't really say.
It's kind
but
of
that would be impressive. But
that's the thing. I mean, so the idea of foveated rendering, right, is that what you're looking at gets rendered at a higher resolution than everything else, and that is actually pretty. It doesn't take much tech for that. It just, they need to be able to like support that on a software and platform level, and I believe they talked about that already. So I would expect that's like table stakes.
Okay, good.
Yeah. But it does sound like the controllers are going to have haptics similar to the Move control, to the DualSense. That's cool.
I don't know. It's hard for me to get excited about a VR headset just because that's not really how I want to play. I understand it works for some people. There are experiences that can only be in VR. I totally get that. It's just, doesn't do much for me. And you said something about this being sleek. Did you say sleek? It looks like a PS5. You call that sleek?
It's I mean, in terms of like the other headsets, which often look like TVs that you're just like slapping on your face, like black, it is like this almost has like a sport goggle look to it, which hey, I appreciate compared to like what all the other PC ones are doing. Did you ever play Half-Life Alyx, Jess?
No.
I feel like that is the thing, and it's a shame that that thing came out 2 years ago at this point, and also launched with Valve's Index VR headset, which is still like the best overall like a PC entry. But I'm sure Sony's like, hey Valve, just bring that sucker over here. Like, we can do some good stuff with that. And I feel like when more people get access to that game, and also where that game goes story wise too, that game has some of the most harrowing like gaming sequences I've ever encountered, but also some of the most beautiful ones, because it is a shooter natively made for VR. It is immersive in a way. I just wish it was more accessible to people. So put that on PlayStation 5, put that with PSVR 2, maybe bundle that, like make that a big
like a new orange box. A new orange box for VR. Was that only on Xbox? I don't remember. I forget. Like I had an Xbox. That's what I had it on, but I don't remember. Yeah,
I remember that being a big deal. Cool. That was a big deal on the Xbox. Huge. And also Portal is coming to Switch, right? So it does seem like Valve is like opening things up a little. I would put money. Half-Life Alyx is one of the most impressive VR things I've ever seen. So put it on what's likely going to be a very popular VR headset platform. So we will we'll see what's up here. Also, random announcements this week. thick Ryu, wide Ryu, from
Wide Ryu. Yeah.
wide Ryu from
He's
Street
a
Fighter
he's a
6. That's
beefy
all we got.
boy. Yeah. That was really upsetting. I don't know, man. Like,
He is wide.
I
He
just,
does take up the wide screen very, very well. Yeah.
and that's fine. Like, I can deal with a wide Ryu, but like that whole teaser was tragic. I don't even know. Like,
Yeah.
what was the point? What
What
did
was the
it
point?
actually show? And why are they using an Adobe stock image as their logo?
So to
So it
recap the
seemed.
news, Sony, I think for a week or so, like for a while, had a countdown timer on the web, and people were like, "Okay, what's happening here?" And over the weekend, they announced or revealed Street Fighter 6, with a very wide, highly detailed Ryu versus a new guy from the other games, Luke, who I've not I bought Street Fighter 5 but never really got into it too much. Just Ryu versus Luke. They don't even like throw punches or anything. It looks like it has the same like inky art aesthetic that came with, I think, 4 first, right? So they've been kind of like leaning on that for a while. It's baffling. You say Street Fighter to me, like I'm immediately excited. That is like one of those defining games for me. Like I remember the first time I laid eyes on Street Fighter 2, the World Warrior, and I remember like begging my parents to spend like goddamn $80 for the SNES cartridge. That think of like how much money that would be now. That would be like spending $150 on a game, basically.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I was fully on board with that. I played with that. I played that game for hundreds of hours with my friends growing up. So yeah, I'm on board for Street Fighter. I don't know what to make of this. How are you feeling, Jess?
Again, like Street Fighter, yeah, it has that clout. You could say Street Fighter and everyone gets excited. That's cool. But I mean, it didn't show me anything. Like, what am I supposed to get excited about here? Like it was like not even that pretty of a teaser, like it was just like, okay, yeah.
Show me something new. It seems like the detail is there. There's a lot of feet, a lot of highly detailed feet in this one.
Yeah.
The muscles are very ripply. I kind of want something new. It does feel like they've been focusing so much on esports and like, I don't know, weird gameplay minutia, which is fine.
The fighting game community is huge, right? And Street Fighter is definitely a part of that. So like they should be focusing on that. That's absolutely right. I don't know what they were trying to do with this teaser. Like, was it just like, yeah, we exist? Okay.
We exist.
Just tweeted something.
I think I'm more annoyed because Street Fighter 5, remember, launched without like a single player mode or an arcade campaign. Like, I do miss the story elements. I miss like just being able to play this game by myself without like trying to be wannabe esports bro. It feels like they lean so hard into that with the last few games where it's like I just want to play Street Fighter, guys. Like let me do some Hadoukens. It does feel like I felt a little left behind, especially seeing how much people are loving Mortal Kombat and Mortal Kombat story, which is a weird thing I never thought I'd hear about.
Those games are great. No, they're truly great. Yeah. Yeah, they're fun.
So I've heard that. I was never as much like in the schoolyard battle of what's better, Street Fighter versus Mortal Kombat. Like early on, I was like always 100% Street Fighter. I was like ride and die Street Fighter. But I know these more recent, these more recent Mortal Kombat games are good. I hear they're good. They're fun. Capcom also announced the movies. Which movie? The Van Damme movie?
Mortal Kombat movie.
Oh,
the new Mortal Kombat movie is like very entertaining.
It's something. It's something. It has some good ideas. It has some great fights. Great actors. It was Mortal Kombat has successfully hit movies harder and better than Street Fighter, so I will grant you that. Although the Street Fighter 2 animated movie, like that anime was really good. Capcom also announced a couple other things. They're also kind of cool. Darkstalkers, like a Darkstalker compilation game. Hyper Street Fighter 2, which was a weird one that like collected a whole bunch of like different versions of the characters too. Is that going to be like one title, or is that going to be like a single title? Combining, yeah. I don't see a name here, but I am looking at the news. It sounds cool. I like Darkstalkers. I miss Darkstalkers quite a bit. I just hope I hope they treat Street Fighter 6 right. I hope it launches with an arcade mode. I don't need like you know a, a George R. Martin story on Street Fighter, but I would like something. I care about these characters to a certain degree, so give me like Fast and Furious level drama, you know, with Street Fighter, and I will be
Well,
fully on board. Put Vin Diesel in Street Fighter. Oh my god,
I was gonna
yes,
say, why don't we
yes,
just cast Vin Diesel? That sounds amazing. And
that
George
sounds
R. R.
amazing.
Martin, he has enough to do. Okay, leave him alone. He's plenty busy with Elden Ring, and
Elden
his own
Ring
books.
and
Okay,
another thing he's starting to like it's dude is super busy. So
for someone
yeah,
who doesn't produce much anymore. I mean, oh,
mm,
I guess he does though. I guess he does. He's
he does,
producing a
just
lot,
not
just
the book he's supposed to
not
write.
the books. That's okay. That's okay.
Um, let me just quickly announce too, or quickly let's just move on to this. Moving on to some other news, just want to briefly talk about Intel and AMD, which both announced some powerful new notebook chips over the last week. And I think this is worth pointing out because for both of them, like it could really change the way we game on our laptops. AMD in particular, the Ryzen 6000 chips that they're announcing have RDNA 2 graphics. So like a stripped down version of the graphics that are in the Radeon RX graphics cards, the latest ones. And also like that tech is in the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series
Mhm.
X. Like that is the GPU tech behind everything. This is severely stripped down, but AMD is saying like these processors without any additional video card can play like modern games in 1080p HD you know, with decent settings. Some of them you may have to like go to low quality settings to hit 60 FPS, but still that is super impressive for a notebook. Like imagine having like a MacBook Air level notebook that can actually like play some games decently. I think that's pretty surprising. So
That's nuts.
it's nuts. It's
Yeah.
super nuts. And Intel announced its latest, it's like U and P series ultra portable chips. And these are on the new hybrid design. So they have these things called P cores and E cores, performance cores, which are super fast, efficient cores, which are less fast, but kind of handle like low power operations. And these chips also sound really exciting, especially like the P core stuff. The benchmarks both of these companies are putting out there, like their 28-watt chips could potentially be much faster than the like 45-watt plus chips we were seeing last year from other folks. So hey, your laptops this year, if you are in need of an upgrade, I'm looking at you, producer Ben. This is a good year for laptops, and just keep an eye on all that. I'm still in the middle of reviewing the Zephyrus G14, which is one of the first ones with these new Ryzen chips. So you'll get some of my impressions with that, but it's very good so far. So just wanted to like highlight this. Keep an eye out for this hardware, especially if you're looking for new PCs, folks. Last thing I want to mention, there's a new Steam tool for the Steam Deck that can check your library to determine what games are compatible with the Steam Deck. Have you done this, Jess? Now that you're testing, we know you're testing the Steam Deck.
Yeah, so I've done this. I did it yesterday and I did it today. And already I have another game added to my verified list. I am going to double check that this is the full list from, so it's pulling games from your library. Like this page lets you put in your Steam ID, and then it tells you which games are going to be ready to go on deck, which ones are kind of ready to go, and which ones you shouldn't even touch. But honestly, like there are 60 some thousand games on Steam, and they've tested just a handful. I mean, 1,000 it feels like. I don't even. Let's see. Actually, I have the list.
We assume they're starting with like the most popular ones, right? Like the biggest games, and then slowly moving down. Yeah,
seems that way. Spoilers: Team Fortress 2 doesn't seem to be supported.
You know, who needs to play that anymore? Come on.
Not that there's no developers working on that. But yeah, it's interesting. I mean, Steam Deck is definitely a new way to play. So this is going to be a helpful tool for anyone who wants to, see if their pre-order is worth it. Like you can see which games you'll actually be able to access and which ones you'll just be taking a chance on. And then you can make a decision from there. Yeah.
I canceled my pre-order and I don't feel bad about it. So I guess we'll see like where this thing goes. I'm looking forward to reading your review tomorrow, Jess. And any other news you want to highlight, Jess? Like what is going on in your neck of the woods? Or are you just like so deep on your game reviews?
Yeah, honestly, it's just been like Elden Ring was a wonderful surprise this week. I really
Mhm.
liked seeing those headlines,
Yeah.
especially on the tails of Forbidden West. It's like we're just getting some good games early in the year. These consoles can actually, you know, support these games, and we're going to see how all these studio deals shake out
Mhm.
over the coming years. But right now, it seems like we're in a pretty cool spot for games. Like there's just plenty to play and plenty of
Mhm.
ways to play. Um, but I guess some people still can't get a PS5. You know, like there are still
It's
shortages. There's still
mhm.
roadblocks here. So, yeah.
It's so tough. It's so tough. But yeah, good time for if you actually have access to these systems and if you have free time to play games. That's what I need. I need to like
Yeah,
buy free time. My daughter just started going to daycare, and that almost feels like I just bought free time for myself. So
you did.
just need just need more of that. Let's move on to what we're working on. I'm also testing Intel's new Dragon Canyon Nook. That's their next unit of computing device. It's like a small form factor desktop, basically. Reviews are going up right now, but I didn't get it in time to like do that fully yet. So that'll probably be going up next week. I like the Nooks. Go check out all my reviews of those over at Engadget. This one looks like an evolution of the one from last year, where it could actually fit in a full size GPU. So it's very exciting. Just looks really cool. I love a cute little desktop. So keep an eye out for that. Jess, anything else you're working on that you want to shout out?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely going to dive into Elden Ring. Steam Deck reviews going live tomorrow. That'll be a video and written,
Oh
so
wow,
you'll get
great.
a look at it. Yeah, I can't wait to talk about the Steam Deck. I really can't. That's been consuming me. So yeah, look out for it. It's coming.
Yeah, I feel like for me, I was really comparing it to like my sorta Steam Deck, which is throwing a backbone on my iPhone and just like streaming games from my PC. It was like, hey, this works,
Right.
and this is where I'll be playing Steam Deck games. So I'm like, this is fine for now. But I guess we'll see. I'm also debating like, should I just get that Switch OLED? I'm playing a lot of like Eastward. Should I just? I need that screen, don't I?
And it's so cute.
It's so cute.
The Switch lights, all the colors, they're so nice. Yeah. So
You're not helping me
I
right
can't
now,
say anything.
Jess.
You are like, I want to say all the things I think, but I'm not. No,
Uh-huh.
not yet.
Uh-huh. We're
Gotta
just
wait.
trying to get all the news out of Jess here. Okay, let's move on to our picks for this week. And I want to talk about the Uncharted movie, which are you interested in that, Jess? Is that something you'll ever see?
No. I'll just watch Indiana Jones. I'm good.
Yeah, just watch Indiana Jones. Or
Yeah.
like the first like Angelina Jolie Laura Croft movie is not bad. Like
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
decently silly action movie, perfectly fine. Go watch like National Treasure. You know, Nicolas Cage's National Treasure. I read a
Yeah.
review of Uncharted for Engadget, and the headline is Uncharted boldly goes nowhere, and that is basically what I feel about it. It does feel like a weird it's weird this movie exists at all, because Sony has been talking about this since 2008, 2009. Like since I started my movie review podcast, the Filmcast, we have been talking about a potential
So
Uncharted
funny.
movie. It's so weird. It's so weird. And like top tier directors like David O. Russell were once involved. People I know who I consider friends, like Dan Trachtenberg, who
Mhm.
directed 10 Cloverfield Lane, like he was potentially involved, and he got kicked out of that too. It is this is a like a cursed project, but it's here. It finally exists. This one's directed by Ruben Fleischer, the director of Zombieland and Venom. And I feel like
Mhm.
every movie he makes after Zombieland just gets worse and worse for me. So I didn't have much hopes going into it. I think this movie it's not terrible, but it is like aggressively mediocre. You know, like Tom Holland as a young Nathan Drake. I don't know. I don't know about that. Like I just can't. He's everywhere. He's adorable. We all love him. We love watching his lip sync dance. He's a cool
Sure.
dude. Everybody loves Tom Holland. Um, I feel like he's a boy in man's shoes, you know, trying to be a man. But there is a point in this movie where he has this like obligatory Tom Cruise shirtless scene where he's just like working out in his apartment, and then it's like, Tom Holland, you look like a wrestler. He has like a 12 pack. He is just like
Sure.
beefier than you would expect under like the Spider-Man outfit. But I like him just fine. I think he is great as a Peter Parker. In this movie, not so much. It's just really disappointing. Like the action wasn't great, the writing isn't great. It just feels like an assembly line movie, right? Like, you know what you want from Uncharted? You want a set piece. Let's plug in a set piece from the game. Let's not make it look realistic or anything. And because you're not actually playing it, because you're not holding a controller or anything, it's just like less exciting than doing that same thing on the game. So I don't know. How do you feel about this? How do you feel about like video game movies in general, Jess?
I mean, generally, I'm a fan. Like, fine if you want to dramatize. I don't care if people take like franchises and do something
Sure.
different with them.
Do
Like,
something.
that's really
Yeah.
exciting. I don't have to engage with it if I don't want to. And this is just one I don't care to engage with. It just seems mediocre. All the promos for it, I was just like, this is nothing. And then your review kind of sealed it for me. I was like, all
It's
right.
just it is wild. This movie has been in the works for so long that Mark Wahlberg was initially going to be Nathan Drake, and now fast forward like 12 years, he's old enough to be Sully because it just took so long. Like, he is now the senior like sidekick character rather than being the main character. Just kind of wild to me that is how long this project took. And was it all worth it? Like, for watered down Indiana Jones, folks, like games that were successful because they were so cinematic. I don't understand the appeal of like going backwards, right? And just like trying to bring that back to movies. What is up
something
there?
different with it. Yeah, like that's the thing. If you're really gonna make a movie based on a game, then find something that makes it an interesting movie and run with that, and really draw that out. And don't just put the game with real people on a big screen like that.
Don't just do the thing. Yeah. I think the last super successful one I can think of is the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, which is a blast.
Yeah.
I love that movie because it has fun voice work. Has Jim Carrey like in like pure 90s madcap Jim Carrey mode too, which I'm fully down for. It's sweet, it's funny, has like nice references to the games, but it's not like beholden to what the games are. That is probably what you want to do with a video game adaptation. It's just a shame that so many movies. Yeah, what's that?
Sorry, I got another. Detective Pikachu.
It's
so cute. So cute. Yeah.
Very cute.
It can be done, but like really they gotta have fun with it instead of just putting the thing on a different screen.
Maybe it's easier for the kids properties too. I'm a big fan of the Silent Hill movie, which is kind of messy. Like, I don't think it ends well, but aesthetically, like stylistically,
it was cool.
It's really cool looking. Has a cool aesthetic basically. It's directed by Christophe Gans, who has like done very cool like action, French action movies like Brotherhood of the Wolf. So yeah, it can happen. It's just so rare. So many failures, and it's just like, I don't know, it's disappointing to me. I can't think of what else. Like Werewolves Within, did you review that or write about that? I feel like but that was a movie that came out recently, which is based on a VR game that nobody played, but that's a game adaptation technically. So
that's cool. I love that. See, they found something special and they knew it would work well in this medium, so they ran with it. That's what should be done. Like, the Resident Evil movies, generally trash, but I mean, they're like popcorn trash.
Right.
I watch them because like they're inoffensive, but they're also, I don't know, they are kind of like so bad they're good. And then the Uncharted movie just looks like mediocre. So
the first Resident Evil movie is like a genuinely decent action thriller from the 90s.
Sure, yeah.
And of course, from the guy who directed the Mortal Kombat movie too. So I feel like he had a good sense of understanding what to bring over from the games and whatnot. So anyway, enough about Uncharted. Is there any pop culture stuff, movies, TV, books you want to highlight, Jess?
Yeah, so I had a second to think about this before we started the show. So podcasts are my thing. I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I've been listening to Sweet Bobby. I finished it. This is a like limited series podcast. It's a single story, and it's the most extreme catfishing story I've ever heard.
Okay.
But it is so tragic. It is hard to hear what this one woman went through for like 10 years of being lied to and her life kind of taken over for like truly no reason, it seems. It's a fascinating podcast. So Sweet Bobby, if you're looking for something to binge, that's what I've been doing. Yeah.
Cool. I would recommend to you the Trojan Horse Affair that I talked about last week.
I listened to that. Yeah.
It is. Yeah, that is just like deeply compelling stuff to me.
Yes.
Let me just see. I'm gonna read a question from Ben that he's putting in. Is Sweet Bobby nonfiction, Jess, or is that fiction?
It is nonfiction, so it's a
Okay.
real story, and it's
Mhm.
from this woman's mouth who went through it. And then there's investigative reporting, and they're trying to find, what happened, who is this person, and why are they doing this?
Mhm.
And it's devastating and confusing, and yeah, it's just kind of humanity is a weird thing, isn't it? And
So
it really
weird. It
drives
is
that home.
also, it's funny, we're seeing so many like podcast adaptations into TV series and movies too, and I feel like that works better, right? Like that works better because then it's like, okay, you took the story which you had like maybe a limited view in, and then you can expand it with cinema. Whereas
Yeah.
I guess games, it's harder. It's harder to figure out what you leave and what you keep, and what does non-interactive cinema add to an interactive experience. That is a
Right.
tough thing for us to figure out. But cool, I will check the show out. Thank you so much, Jess. I
Yeah.
think that'll do it for this episode of the Engadget podcast. Our theme music is by game composer Dale North. Our outro music is by our very own managing editor, Terrence O'Brien. The podcast is produced by Ben Ellman. You can find Jess online at, where can we
At
find you?
Jess Condit on Twitter and Instagram, Jess L. Condit.
Great. And you can find me at Devendra on Twitter. I also do the Filmcast podcast at thefilmcast.com. We just did a retrospective of all the Scream movies on our Patreon too, so check that out. That was fun. I'm really
Oh,
looking forward
cool.
to seeing Scream 5. So Scream movies are good, it turns out. Anyway, email us at
Mhm.
podcast@engadget.com. Leave us a review on iTunes and subscribe on anything that gets podcasts, including Spotify. Okay. I think we're good
Okay,
here.
we are done with the recording. It was gonna be a short one always, folks, and so we have some time for questions.
Got some time,
If
yeah.
anybody wants to ask a few questions in maybe the 5 or 10 minutes we have before noon East Coast U.S. time, just want to say to Jash Sachdeva, happy birthday.
Happy
Just
birthday.
said in
Happy
the
birthday.
chat that Jash moved from India to Germany just
Oh,
recently
wow.
for school, and it's their birthday today. So yeah, you're far away from home, but you've got friends on the internet. Happy birthday.
Enjoy a currywurst for your birthday. Yeah.
Ooh, yes.
So we have another question. I think this was from the PSVR section by user Aerodemus, who was asking more about the variable rate shading on the VR setup. I'm not sure what VRS is, but please explain and maybe go into the detail that they're seeking.
That's a good. Everybody has different names for a lot of like similar technologies. As far as I know, yeah, it is. It is actually similar to the foveated rendering thing, but it yeah, it is how you focus things. Yeah, where you're focusing on the screen is where they can focus graphics performance. That is the thing I have noticed from that.
And just from like a kind of basic understanding of like college anatomy, the fovea is the area of the eye where there is like a blind spot. So are they trying to stay out of that blind spot?
I think, well, the foveated rendering thing, yeah, is like what you're looking at. It means your blind spots is where they can like really make the graphics lower scale, so it's like you will not notice what is in your peripheral vision if it's like rendered at a lower resolution because you're not looking at it directly, so it's that sort of thing.
Which is how our eyes work.
Yeah.
Like we focus on a thing at a time. Like our peripheral vision is way worse than we think. Like I heard once that our peripheral vision was actually like black and white, and we just like fill in the color. Like I don't know.
I mean,
but it's bad. Like yeah.
I think that the thing there though is we also have higher like perception for movement in our peripheral vision. So it's like you can't go too low and you can't like go lower frame rate because like we have this, like if something is coming at you really quickly, you want to be able to react to that basically, even if you can't see clearly what it is. So our eyes are weird. It's all weird.
So I wonder what that means for the actual what's the word that I'm looking for? I guess
Screen.
angle range
Mm-hmm.
of where the best rendering is.
So a lot of like VR headsets have like concave lenses too. So it's like I could pull one up here if I have it nearby. But you can see a dip. They're not flat, so they kind of like
Mhm.
curve with your eyeball a little. And I feel like a lot of them have leaned on that because that is the way. Also, you get like a higher viewing angle by doing that too. And it's really viewing angle and having like nice lenses that kind of fit your field of vision that make VR super immersive. You want something that completely doesn't look like you're looking through binoculars, which is what cheaper headsets used to do, and the newer ones just look like you're looking through a window, and that's a much different experience. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and the thing that I'm wondering is like, is there only like 30 degrees of a field of vision that they really need to render at the highest rate?
It could be. It could be. So I think like the highest VR headset I've seen is like 130 degrees, which is just like it's like boom. It's like you're wearing aviator glasses basically, and that is all of it, and everything else is blacked out. But I've had good experiences with like 120, 110 degrees and stuff too. Um, yeah, this it is weird what's happening in VR because it feels like Meta and other places have just given up on things outside of the Quest.
Mhm. They're trying to get me to say stuff about Steam Deck without saying anything, so I don't want to
Mm,
show my face. Mm-mm. Nice try, Mark.
nice try.
Little sneaks. Mm-mm.
So does anyone have any other questions about things that we can actually talk about without getting in trouble?
Tomorrow, guys, I really want to talk about Steam Deck. I really
Mhm.
do. Wish I could.
Yeah, so Mark was actually mentioned something about, it would be great to see a live stream of like Steam Deck, but that's something to kick up the chain.
Timing does not work out for that. Maybe next week if we get just
Yeah.
on to do like a Steam Deck section, but it's gonna be like after the wave of influencers and everybody has like showed everything off on video, so it's gonna be less exciting. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The video
true.
is pretty in depth too. So like check out our video. It's gonna plenty of beauty shots, you'll really get a feel for what this thing's
And
like.
that's going to
Yeah.
be going up tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Tomorrow, I don't know if I can say the exact time, but tomorrow.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. So sometime tomorrow, check out the Engadget YouTube page for a in-depth video review of the
Mhm.
Steam Deck. Pretty important. And yeah, we're just gonna have like a lot of Mobile World Congress stuff next week, right?
Yeah.
We are. I mean, it's not as news heavy a show as like it used to be, but it does look like we'll have a bunch of stories. Certainly, Samsung has like some big stuff cooking, so we'll have some stuff there. Yeah, and Sherlin will be leading all
Mhm.
that stuff next week.
As always.
Okay, we've
What a
got a
champ.
couple minutes more if anyone wants to ask any specific questions.
Oh man, so many things happening.
I'm actually like one of the things that I wanted to ask on the pre-show that we didn't do this week was I'm wondering how many people watch like TV on tablets, and I was wondering if anyone
Hmm.
had any good suggestions for a tablet in
Everybody
which to
does.
watch
Their
TV.
tablets have taken over like secondary TVs for a lot of people too. Like for
Hmm.
so many folks, like for even for my daughter, like Sophia's almost 3.5 months, 3.5 years old. That is the thing where she watches most of the shows because it's better than putting, freaking Paw Patrol on a 65-inch TV, which I think is even more like brain melting. Just like
Yeah.
having a little box, and then as she's playing, I can just like, oh no, battery ran out. Oh no, I can't connect to the internet anymore. It's a very very easy way to control what's happening.
I like
Yeah,
that.
We can have
Very sneaky.
a secondary podcast just all about ways to gaslight your small
parenting hacks.
children using technology.
I mean, the fact that they have tablets, like I would have killed for anything like this when I was a kid
Oh
during
yeah,
road trips. Like,
absolutely.
so you know what, kids, you're spoiled as hell. We're gonna really limit your early access to this anyway. But also, my wife uses the tablet like all over the place. Like, it's great for bedroom stuff. I watch stuff on my phone. I will not even deny that. Like, I talked about this on the
Really?
Filmcast, but at the end of the day, like after work and after I put the baby to bed, I'm just like, I find the nearest flat surface and I just lay flat. And then
Yeah.
at that point it's like, okay, I'm going to watch Reacher just on my phone. And Reacher is not a very cinematic show, so I don't care that much. I hold an iPhone 13 up to my face, and that is a nice OLED screen, and that's fine, perfectly fine for now.
You're right. Like, I watch a lot of like Married at First Sight and Real Housewives, and that does not need to be on a 65-inch screen.
Doesn't need
does
it.
not.
Yeah.
It does not. It barely needs to be on a tiny screen, but I love it. I love crap reality TV shows. They're so good.
Okay, so anyone who has any suggestions for good secondary like tablet screens, even better if they're cheaper than like the average like iPad or anything.
I mean, the Amazon Fires, that's entirely why they exist. Is to
that's true.
Be cheap
That's true.
and just watch stuff. Yeah.
Really?
Super cheap. You have to watch ads with some of them. Like they display ads sometimes, and that is how they do that. But
yeah,
good deal.
So, okay. So Josh Sachdeva is asking about updates on Stadia, and you know what? Jess might have some information, but Sherlyn probably has more information.
And also we know Google's kind of leaning more on like they're looking at the like enterprise stuff with Stadia. Like Stadia as a consumer platform
service
may not be around for much longer.
Nope.
So
nope. Those controllers are on their way to being relics. Yeah.
And I remember when that came out. That was inside the life of this podcast, which is comparatively short.
And we
said even then.
Yeah. Do not join a service where you're paying full price for a game that exists on a server somewhere. Like, don't do that. Especially with like Game Pass, ultimate streaming and stuff around. So
yeah.
Dude named Charlie says Jess, you go.
No, just the whole conversation around DRM. And like it was such a big deal when like companies like EA especially were putting like locks on their games, so you could only install it once, and it was controlled by the cloud, and everyone was like, do I even own my games anymore?
Right.
Meanwhile, Steam is exactly the same thing. If they go down, they could take your whole library with them, by the way.
They could. A lot of games just have web connectivity for just to play. Not even
well,
like
now it's
piracy.
our life. Yeah. Now this is how we do it, and it's like, and no one bats an eye. It's like, we're kind of used to not owning some of our software. That's okay. But Stadia is pretty dead in the water. They'll do something else with it, but not Stadia. Yeah.
Okay, I think we're good. I think we should wrap. And also, I know our video producer will need to take a break in between projects and whatnot. But thank you all for joining us. Anything else you want to mention, Ben, as we're heading out?
I'm looking around. No, but thanks to everyone who's watching. Thanks to people like dude named Charlie, Mark Dell. Again, happy birthday, Josh. I hope you have the best day possible after having moved internationally. Hello to that Gabba. Hello to Artemis, Rohith, Cornell Wah. This video and this stream comes to you via our video producers, Julio Barrientos and Luke Brooks. If you stuck around this long, rate us 5 stars on iTunes. Come on. The Engadget viewer knows that we live in an algorithm. We live in an algorithm. Maybe true. We live in a world of algorithms more intensely than the average person. So help us out with other people being able to find the show. Rate us 5 stars on iTunes. If you watch the stream, just download it on your favorite podcast catcher of choice. That also helps everything keep moving with this show, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, folks.
Peace.